I want to respond to the gentlelady's comments about emissions. Look, I understand this issue is confusing for a lot of folks and confusing for me, trying to track all this information. But some really important points have been made today. What these amendments are trying to do are trying to recognize that this is actually a global issue, and that this bill is going to result in a net increase in global emissions, which largely is what this amendment and Mr. Stauber's amendment and others are trying to prevent from happening. I mentioned earlier that the National Energy Technology Labs, part of our Department of Energy lab system, analyzed U.S. natural gas production and compared it to Russian. If we do things like this, and look, let's be really candid because this is important. My friends on the other side of the aisle have worked to prohibit, both in Congress and through state and local government actions, prohibit the construction of pipelines to transport the natural gas. Yet you're trying here to force that the gas be used. Well, it can't be used if it can't be transported. So let's be very clear what is going on here. You're trying to create a problem that cannot be solved, and then say, oh, okay, well, it looks like we're not going to be able to produce gas anymore. Now, the reason that it's important that we don't do this is because if you do this, you're going to prevent domestic production of gas, which is then going to increase global dependence upon Russian gas, which has a 41 to 47% higher global emissions. If we cut emissions in the United States, it doesn't result in the U.S. being climate resilient. That's not how it works. I said earlier, for every 1 ton we've reduced, China's increased by 4. That's the wrong direction. Paris results in an increase in emissions, 50% growth in emissions by China alone through 2030. That is the wrong direction. So if you care about the environment, if you care about climate resilience, if you care about the American workforce, this bill goes in the wrong direction. And I'll point out again as to why this is fact. I want to ask the sponsor of the bill, why is this bill only focused on methane emissions from oil and gas? And could you please answer, I yield to the gentlelady, what percentage of emissions, methane emissions, is this bill going to deal with from the U.S.?
As the gentleman knows, I told him I would get him that information.
No, that's not what I asked. That's not what I asked. What percentage of emissions come from oil and gas production in the United States?
The gentleman can finish. The gentleman can finish his statement. Otherwise, he can yield back.
Yeah, thanks. So it proves my point. This isn't trying to reduce methane. I've tried to work with my friends on the other side of the aisle to stop coastal wetlands erosion in Louisiana because that's a major source of methane emissions, and it also happens to be ecological productivity and, I don't know, the people I represent protecting them. And folks on the other side of the aisle have fought that. This is only a less than 1/3 of the emissions on methane, to answer my own question. 1/3 of the emissions of methane in the United States. Why are we dealing with the other 70+%? It's because that's not the objective here. The objective here is to try and kill domestic energy production, which is going to result in higher global emissions, higher energy prices, and more jobs, wait for it, in China. Wrong direction.